What's up guys, welcome to a super quick kind of like a bonus episode. So I just noticed that Adobe put out their new noise reduction update for Lightroom and Camera Raw. And I don't use Lightroom, but I do use Bridge and Camera Raw. And I just noticed it in there and I started messing around with it and I'm kind of like very pleasantly blown away. So let's just jump in there real quick because I want to see one, if it's good for wildlife, and two, if it's good for Astro, stuff like that. Those are the two things that I use noise reduction on the most. So if it can handle both of those things inherently inside of Adobe, inside of my natural workflow without plugins, I'm going to be very, very happy. So let's jump in here and take a look at a couple of things that I've shot recently, which is not much. All right, so the first one I want to take a look at is from one of my recent Arizona trips where I got this awesome elegant Trogon. And there was a couple of shots here that I thought I could clean up. I really like him, this guy going to town on this caterpillar, like look at him. All right, so let's just check this out. This isn't the most amazing shot in the world, but it'll work. ISO 1600, it's a little underexposed. So that's kind of good for what I want. So I'm just going to brighten this up a little bit. And by brightening it too, when it's underexposed and high ISO, that's definitely going to make the noise a little worse. And so usually I'd be maybe a little more careful about that. So we can see it's pretty noisy, especially in this dark area here and in this right behind him. All right, so we're just gonna, all I did was just brighten it up a little bit. So let's just come into here to detail now. So now by default, you'll see, this is what you'll see for the denoise AI bit, and then it'll have this manual noise reduction. So let's just go ahead and click this. So it looks like by default it's going to 50%, and holy cow, that's a massive difference. Let's look at his eye. So that looks pretty impressive so far. Whoa. Let's look at these feather details. Like, that's the hardest part because the old noise reduction would just mush that. You know, so the fact that, look at those little wispy hairs coming off his little eyebrow there. So I'm just going to leave it at 50. Look at that, estimated time, 7 seconds. That's pretty darn good. What I find very interesting here is that it's creating another copy for me, and I don't know if I like that or not. The jury's still out on if I would rather it just be done non-destructively on the same image just like it used to, or why they have to create a copy. I don't know, but it's not a huge deal. All right, so let's take a look at this as the denoised at 100%, and then there's the original. So I'm pretty happy with that. So now let's do this though. Let's, since this is the original, let's go down here to the manual and I'll do 50%. So we can see, now look at the difference. This is the AI 50% and this is the manual 50%. It has that classic mushy painting looking, soft everything. I mean, the noise looks, like if we look right here, the noise pattern looks decent. But look here, the noise pattern looks even better, and not only that, we still have a ton of details in these feathers. Let's not talk about this stick though. I don't know if I feel like taking that out or not. I probably would if I wanted to really edit this image. And then when you zoom out, like that looks incredible. Like the background looks great. The bird looks great. But that was only ISO 1600, so let's see if we can find some more stuff here. All right, let's take a look at one of these. Like I would probably not edit this one because I really hate the background. But at 100%, the background looks manageable. The key thing is here, this is ISO 4000, and I definitely want to see how this is going to do. You know what? That's looking a little blurry. Let's look at a different image real quick. I'm being really picky about it. Okay, look, this one's way sharper. So look at this guy. All right, so same deal, ISO 4000. Let's do this. I mean, that's incredible. Look at the detail we still have in this feathers, you know. So let's just go ahead and do, I'm gonna even bump it up to like 60. I don't think I would go super high. So you can see, the cool thing is you can see immediately on the slider, and like at 100%, the background is completely soft, and that's impressive. But you'll notice around the edges, you'll notice the detail lacking on the eye, and then the feathers. Starting to get that classic yucky, blurry feeling there. But if we drop it back down to 60, I don't think I want to go that high either. I'm just going to keep it around in the 50s. I'm really liking that compromise. All right, so we'll come in 100% on both of these. I mean, that's just, to me, that is super impressive. Look at his tiny little feet, and there's still detail there. They're not all mushed out. This is incredible. That's looking really good. And then, of course, I just wouldn't ever crop in that tight anyways. So if you back it out to even, you know, a semi-reasonable crop, that just looks incredible. And I could maybe clean this up and blur out the background a little more and get rid of this stuff, of course. That could become a workable image. I don't know, because this guy is super cool. All right, let's take a look at some Astro. Let's take a look at this. This is not an interesting shot at all. It was just a test shot that I was doing when I set up for a time lapse. But it does have ISO 6400, which is relatively high. And it's got some stuff that we can look at that I think will be good for this. So again, before we do that, it is a little dark. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to brighten some things up a little bit. And I'm going to tweak a few little things first, just to get it looking the way that I want. All right, so that was just a little cleanup, you know, to make the image a little closer to where I want, but it's still really noisy. So let's come in here and see if we can clean that up a bit. You'll notice I got some star trails because I was lazy and I knew I was doing a time lapse anyways, so I'm not really super concerned about that. But we can see, I mean, look at right there where the mouse is holding it down. Look at that color noise. There's a difference between the color noise and the luminance noise. And we've got both of them. We've got luminance noise and color noise in this. And it's just gone. That's incredible. All right, so let's take a look at these mountains. So they're soft anyways because I didn't they're soft anyways because I didn't focus on them. This wasn't a focus stacked image, but there's still enough detail there. This is another reason I wouldn't use this image for anything really, but I just want to see. I mean, so there's the original, and it's just because of bringing up the shadows and this being underexposed, that's just horrible. And I mean, that noise looks incredible. Like if I were to have actually done a good job and focus stacked this, those mountains would have been tack sharp and the noise would have gone away and they would have been beautiful. But as it stands, if you're not zooming in and you're just looking at this image as a whole, I'm really happy with that. Here's a real bummer though. Let's check this out. So I actually shot this with my phone, and it's pretty noisy. ISO 1600, and on the phones, ISO 1600 is brutal. Especially I mean, just look at that. That's bad in those areas. The sky looks all right. But anyways, But notice over here, denoise is not currently compatible with this photo format. So this is a DNG, and that's the raw image that I get from a phone. So when you select raw to take with your phone, it gives you a DNG. And for some reason, Adobe doesn't want to play with that yet. So the RAWs that I were using from my Canon R6 Mark II or R5, it was both of those, are both .cr3 files, but it won't work with the raw phone photos. So if you have any other cameras that use any other raw formats, double check that to make sure, you know, if that's an option for you. I wonder if I can, let's check this out. If I can, this was the JPEG that the phone spit out to. I wonder if I can open up Camera Raw separate in the JPEG. Nope, it just gives you the regular denoising, the old detail denoising. Interesting. So it only works on RAWs, and it does not work on DNGs apparently, or at least the DNGs from my Samsung S23 Ultra, or any phone that would put out a DNG as a RAW, I guess. All right, well, I think that was it for now. I got a lot of stuff to do. I want to play around with this, definitely some more with, like, I'm looking forward to trying it with some good Milky Way photos and some more like actual photos that I would use like wildlife, but I just haven't done much this year with all of my shoulder and everything being broken and surgeries coming up, and going to Scotland. Actually tomorrow I'm leaving for Scotland, so by the time this comes out I'll probably already be over there. Who knows, maybe I'll get some good photos where I can try this out some more, but I'll definitely be doing a lot more Astro with it this summer, and I'm looking forward to doing some focus stacks and some proper Astro with some high ISOs. But this has potential, and I think, you know, if you're someone who has never, like me, messed with any other like plugins like Topaz or DxO or any of that, then I think this is going to be awesome, because it's just right there in Lightroom and Camera Raw. And I think from what I've seen so far, I don't know how it competes. Like I said, I don't have those things, but I feel like it doesn't, for me professionally, I think it's doing the job that I would be happy with putting out images of that quality for sure. The only other thing that I have Luminar Neo, and I really love Luminar Neo. Obviously this isn't sponsored in any way, shape or form. I've had Luminar for a long time. I've been using them as just a separate plugin for my own workflows, and I like some other things about their editing and whatnot, but Luminar Neo does have their new noise reduction AI that's, you know, trying to compete on the level of Topaz and DxO and all this stuff. Personally, I don't think it's quite as good as either one of those two yet. I know they're constantly working on it and stuff, but I feel like maybe when I get back or I have some more time, maybe I'll do like a longer comparison. But I feel like this, based on just my use, I feel like this Adobe does a better job now than the Luminar Neo, maybe. And that is, again, purely subjective. That is not objective or empirical at all. But if you want to see some like more detailed comparisons with something like that, let me know. If you want to see like a detailed how I use Luminar with just like regular editing, let me know, because I was thinking about doing something like that too in the future. But man, I'm really stoked that Adobe has done this, because already that's better than my older Adobe workflow as of a week ago. So that's really awesome, and I'm really looking forward to doing more wildlife and doing more Astro, which are two of my favorite things with this. So definitely give it a try if you've got it. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other camera systems like Nikon or Sony or Fuji or Olympus or any other phones or whatever that you might use with this. I'm curious to see what's working for everybody. And obviously that was the other thing I was going to mention. If you're still here, I should have mentioned in the beginning for everybody that already left. But you know, Adobe has been notorious with mishandling Canon raw images. Especially when it comes to ISO, like Adobe is they just don't process right. They always seem to have more noise than they should in Camera Raw, versus if you look at them in Canon's DPP or DxO or something else, other editors. I don't know what it is, but Adobe has just always not rendered raw files or read Canon raw files very well. So the fact that I'm able to clean up this noise in Adobe and make it look really good, like right there in Camera Raw and Lightroom, that makes me really excited. So, all right, that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Let me know what you think down below. Huge thanks if you stuck around this far. I super appreciate it. Hit that like button for me. That's the best thing you do for the channel. Check out channel memberships and go check out some of my vlogs if you want to see some actual wildlife and astro stuff. Got plenty of them on the channel. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.